Hello, it's Kelly Marie Alvarez here from Fawn, and I am so excited to be sharing this video today with you on the Hero Arts channel. We're going to be introducing our set, Big Thanks. It's a Hero Arts partner set in honor of their 45th anniversary. So let's go ahead and check it out and make 2 cards with it. This set has these super cute rhinoceroses, and they're absolutely adorable, facing in 2 different directions so you can do really cute scenes with them. And then we have 3 different styles of birds that you can put on their backs or on top of their heads, and it looks absolutely adorable. We have 2 different size clouds to help set the scene, a cute little butterfly for your skies. We have rocks in 2 different sizes and also grasses in 2 different sizes that are perfect for helping set the scene. We have these cute little flowers that you can put amongst the rocks and the grasses too. There are some awesome mix and match sentiments in this set, and right here we have these really great outlined versions of thank you, big thanks, and then now we've got the solid versions of thank you and big thanks. The cool thing is you can layer them or use them separately, and I'll be showing you guys that in just a little bit. We also have some great phrases that go along with this. So we have a very big thank you, or you can use the larger outline thank you, sending thanks for all you do, so very much, thanks so very much from all of us, for being my friend, you've always got my back, which is my favorite sentiment, and thanks to you. We also have an exclamation point for the ends of the smaller phrases and for the outline and solids of the bigger phrases too. And of course, a cute little heart. Here are the different ways that you can use those larger scale sentiments. You can use the solid on its own, you can use the outline on its own, or you can layer them. So in this first one, we're going to layer them directly on top of each other, and so that solid one is going to be coloring in the letters. On this next one, we're going to offset it. So you'll see I shifted over to the right just a little bit, and that gives it this cool neon sign look. You can also stamp the solid on its own like we had earlier, or the outline on its own, and you can color them in with your markers, and it looks so cool with that gradient in there. Next, we're going to use some Copic markers to add some color to these super cute images. And I really like using warm grays for these rhinos. And we're going to be making these rhinos kind of a lighter gray, but they look really cool as a darker gray too. So you'll see that I'm working my way down the rhino. So I'm going to work just on his back a little bit, blending from dark to medium to light, and then down his neck. He's a pretty big image with a lot of open area. And so I like kind of going from different areas like the bottom of his foot and the top of his back, and then kind of meeting in the middle. This gives me a really nice smooth look. My coloring of these rhinos was inspired by Elena on the Fawn design team, and she took her darkest marker and added these teeny tiny little dots at the top of his head and at the top of his back, and I thought it was the coolest detail that gave him just a lot of little extra texture. So we're going to be repeating the exact same style of coloring, kind of starting in different sections and then meeting in the middle at his head, starting in different sections around his body and meeting in the middle for a nice smooth look, and then adding those teeny tiny dots for some really great texture. As we keep coloring, I thought it would be fun to let you guys know a little bit more about this stamp set. So this set is called Big Thanks, and it's a partner set with Hero Arts, and we've done it in honor of their 45th anniversary. How amazing is that? 45 years of beautiful, inspired stamping. We absolutely love everyone at Hero Arts, and we decided it would be fun to create a super cute stamp set with a thank you theme to show how grateful and thankful we are to Hero Arts for their amazing contributions to our creative community, and even more so for their amazing friendship. The people at Hero Arts are the nicest people that you'll ever meet. They're so incredible. When we first started out, they helped us out with advice, and I am forever grateful to them and thankful to them. And so I hope this cute set really is in the inspiration of how amazing Hero Arts is. So thank you, Hero, for everything that you do for our creative stamping industry. As we start to finish up coloring in those grasses, we're going to start working on those outline letters. So they look really cool stamped in either black or different colors of ink, but they're really fun to color in. And even more fun is coloring them in rainbow order. So we've got some Roy G. Biv going on here, and I absolutely love it. I just put my darker marker towards the bottom and the lighter one towards the top, and it's the coolest look, and I love coloring them this way. Here is a look at all of the images from the set all cut out, and you can see just how adorable they are. And now we're going to mix and match some of these images. So you can have the birds in the scenes, or you can have them on the tops of their heads or on the tops of their backs, which is just so cute and goes along with the thanks for always having my back. You can have your clouds in the sky and the butterfly, and then take your rocks and grasses and move them all around. And creating scenes with these is just the most fun thing. So now it's time to create some cards with this set, and we're going to start off with a really cool sunset sky. So we're going to be die cutting with a stitched rectangle, some craft cardstock, and some white cardstock. We'll then take a stitched hillside border die, and we're going to die cut a cool little hill out of that craft cardstock, which is going to be the sand that our rhinoceroses are standing on. Now, I wanted to kind of see what placement I wanted to put this hill because we're going to be putting those thank you words below. So we're going to just use the stamp as a little guide as to where it should be. And then we're going to use some low tack tape. I'm going to use some post-it note tape here to hold that hill in place. The next thing we need to do is create a mask for our sun since we're creating a sunset scene. So right here, this is a full stick post-it. These things are awesome. And we're going to die cut that with a circle die, and that's going to be our setting sun. So here I'm going to use my grid mat to help me line up this circle. We'll put it right in the center, tucked behind that ground, and then press it down really well so that it's ready to become the mask for our scene. We're going to remove our hill for now, and now we can start doing some ink blending. So we're going to be using a blender brush and different colors of inks in yellows out to oranges with a hot pink for the outside edges. So we're going to be starting in the center of that sun and working our way out with our lightest yellows. And then we're going to start on the outside of the card, working our way in with our different oranges. So kind of our yellowy orange, darker orange, and then we'll be bringing in that hot pink. That's what really helps set this sunset apart. Now, to make sure we have a nice blend for all of these colors, we're going to keep going back through them. So from the yellow to the lighter orange to the dark orange and back and forth between where those colors meet to create a really, really cool seamless blend. And now we're at my favorite part, and that's removing the mask every time I do it. It's the coolest thing. Like, how awesome does that look? Now that sun's pretty white, so we're going to add a little bit of our lighter yellow colors over that sun. That's also going to give it a nice blend into the sunset scene we created too. So we're just going to layer a mix of the lighter and the darker yellow until it looks really nice in the sky. Next, we're going to add some texture with water and some white paint. So we're going to pick up some water with a small paintbrush and tap the paintbrush to create splatters. This is going to react with the ink and just give it a little bit of texture in the sky. It's also going to kind of take the eye away from any imperfections in my blending, which is good too. And then here I've got some of this Copic white, but any white acrylic paint would do. I'm going to add it to my mat and mix it with just a little bit of water, pick it up with the paintbrush, and tap that around the sky too. And those little tiny white splatters just add the perfect texture to this sunset, and it just makes it look finished. And today we are recreating a card by Elena, so thank you so much, Elena. So I've gone ahead and die cut another stitched white rectangle to do our stamping on, and we're going to be building one of these phrases, mixing the larger words with the smaller words, which I think is such a cool look. So we have a very big thank you to you, and I love that the thank you is big because it goes along with the whole cute pun of the whole thing. So we're going to line that up, and our Misty will pick up those stamps, and then we can add them with some black ink onto this stitched rectangle. Next, I wanted to fill in those outlined letters with a light brown ink that's going to go along with that light brown hill that we cut earlier. So we're just going to line that right up, and it's going to be a little bit offset, which is going to give it that really cool kind of neon sign look. You'll see there at the top, I tried one where it was completely filled in and one where it was offset. I ended up really liking the offset one. I thought it looked nice with the sunset, so that's the one we're going to go ahead and use. So right now, we're using those words as a guide as to where to put the hill. Once we have that hill in perfect placement, I'm just going to make a little pencil line, and we can trim off any of the excess of our sunset scene. Then we can start to work on putting these together. So we can layer our sunset on there, and then we can layer our hill on top of that. Then we can take that entire scene and add it to a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25. Now we can start adding the rhinos into the scene. So we've added those on with some foam squares, and then we're going to take the cute little bird and add it on his back, which is just so super cute. We're going to take some rocks and grasses and kind of help set the scene and also put some clouds in the sky. We're going to add that cute little heart in the center, and then we can add a cloud and one of the birds flying down. He's going to fly and land on that other rhino, and it's just so cute. I am in love with this scene. One of my favorite things that Elena did in her card is that she added a shadow. So here I'm taking a really light brown marker and just adding a shadow underneath the rhinos. And how cool is that? It adds so much to the scene. It was really easy to do, can be really imperfect. Just kind of add a bunch of little scribbles right underneath each of your stamped images. And how cool is this? I love the sunset sky. I love these cute little rhinos, the little tiny dot details on them, and the shadows. Oh my goodness, just adorable. Next, I thought it would be super fun to create an interactive card with these awesome little rhinos. So we're going to be making a flippin' awesome card. So we're going to take the main piece, the larger panel piece, a scalloped square piece, and also that stitched rectangle there. And we're going to be die cutting a bunch of cardstock. So we're going to die cut some white cardstock for the main flippin' awesome piece, and then we're going to be die cutting some greens and also turquoises for our skies and grass for these guys to be hanging out in. That white scallop piece is going to be a part of our sentiment eventually. Now here we have a grassy border die, and we're going to be lining that up on our green panel pieces. And so we'll be able to get 4 grasses, so 2 out of each one, by cutting the top and the bottom of each square. To give this cardstock just a little extra dimension, we're going to be taking a coordinating ink and using a blender brush and just adding a little bit of ink around the edges. So it's going to give the sky almost like an ink blended look without having to ink blend an entire piece. I love doing this with colored cardstock. I usually pick an ink color that's a little bit lighter than the cardstock, and that gives it just that perfect little dark edge. So we're going to do that on the grass and the sky pieces. Now we'll start to create our scenes by layering the grasses on the panel pieces. Now you're going to notice that I had one of those panel pieces that's kind of a landscape, that larger stitched rectangle. We're actually going to be making a portrait card, so I'm going to be switching that in just a second. But first we need to start to work on our scene. So our first little scene is going to have our rhino with his bird friend. And then we're going to have our rhino kind of walking away, and he's going to have his 2 little birds kind of looking out at him. Then we're going to have the other rhino waiting for this guy that's walking towards him. Of course, he's going to get a cute little bird in a cloud too. And then for our last scene, you're going to see that in just a second. So we're going to trim off any of the excess. And I really love doing this because it really looks like a scene with movement when you have parts of their little images cut off. Now there you're going to see that whole landscape one that I made, and right now is when I realized, wait, I wanted to make a portrait card. Oops, we're going to start over again. So here we're going to use that same stitched rectangle that's going to be for the last part of the Flippin' Awesome, and we're going to cut that in the same way. So we're going to cut a grass, but just out of the bottom of it, and then we're going to add some inking to both our sky piece and our grass piece. For this scene, I wanted to do the "You Always Have My Back" because it's my favorite sentiment from the whole set, but it was a bit long. So what we're going to do is we're just going to trim that stamp in half so that we can stamp them stacked this time. And if we want to stamp them straight long ways another time, we can just put them right back together like a little puzzle piece. So we're going to be stamping that right onto the sky scene, and now we can make that final scene. And the final scene is that our rhinos are all together and all the bird friends are together. So we've had the one walking, the one waiting, and now they're all together, just good friends. I just think it's just the cutest thing. I love thinking about my stamps. I kind of talk to my stamps. What are they going to do? What scene are they going to make? And so it was really fun to come up with a little script of what was going to be happening in this interactive card. We're going to be adding some clouds into the sky and of course our cute little birds, and then we can trim off any of the excess that's hanging over the edges. And I just love how this turned out. So now it's time to work on our Flippin' Awesome mechanism. So the die creates some score lines for you right in the center, and there are 4 different score lines. And we're going to fold along each of those score lines, and we're going to fold them each in both directions. So we're going to work our way down all 4 of them, and then turn around and do them in the other direction. And the reason we're going to do this is it makes it have a really, really nice flip action. Now it's time to attach our panels, and our last panel is the first one we're going to attach, and we're going to be attaching this on completely flat. So you'll see there that in that entire square area we've covered it with tape runner, and we're going to attach our last panel on there. And this is the one that's going to have that white scallop with the sentiment. We're going to add that on in just a little bit. Then the next pieces of tape runner that we're going to add are in between those score lines. So we're going to add 3 different strips in between each of those score lines. And that's how we're going to attach our 3 other panels. So these panels are only attached by that one strip. So now we're going to take our third to last panel and attach that. Then we'll take our second panel and attach that. And then we'll add our first panel. And you can already see how these are going to be flipping to tell our little scene. Now you'll notice how there are those two little tabs there. We need to add some adhesive to those, and we're going to be using some nice strong 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and we're going to add that to both of the tabs. The reason we're using this nice strong tape is this is actually the only place where the Flippin' Awesome attaches to the card base. So we want to make sure that tape is nice and strong. And to form our mechanism, we're going to take the piece there, flip it behind, and then hug our tabs around. And that's how it's going to be attaching down onto our card. Here we've die cut the Flippin' Awesome add-on, which is this really pretty stitched scalloped rectangle, and we're going to be removing the liner paper on both of those tabs, exposing the adhesive. Once we've done that, we can take those tabs and hug them around and then attach it onto that rectangle. Now our mechanism has been created, and when you pull on that tab, you can see the awesome flip action. Now, to attach that last panel that has the rest of our scene in it, we're going to add some tape runner to the back, and you'll see that in the Flippin' Awesome, it almost makes like a little gap right there. We're going to take this piece and tuck it just slightly into that gap. And the reason we're going to do that is so that it has a nice, smooth action and it can work really, really well. Now, every once in a while, if you add too many die cuts to the Flippin' Awesome, the action on it isn't great. And in this case, I have had it a whole lot of die cuts, but there's a really cool little fix for that. And so we're going to take a piece of acetate and we're going to die cut it with the Flippin' Awesome die, and then we're going to trim it off right at that first score line. So we'll just use our paper trimmer and just trim off any of that excess. Then to attach it on to the Flippin' Awesome, we're going to add some nice strong tape to the very top and then very bottom of the Flippin' Awesome. And we're going to be able to hide that tape. So we're going to be hiding the top tape in the little gap area and then hiding the bottom tape with a decorative pull tab element. So now we can go ahead and peel off the liner paper at the longer piece that's at the end of the Flippin' Awesome acetate. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to tuck it right into that gap of the Flippin' Awesome. And you'll see as we start to add this over, you can barely even notice the acetate on there, and it's going to really help since we have so many die cuts. Now, if you just had 1 or 2 die cuts, you don't need to do this method, but if you want to add a ton of stuff like I did here, this is a great way to even make your flip action more awesome. So now that we have that in good placement, we can remove the liner paper at the tab end and attach that down permanently. Now it's finally time to decorate that last panel. And so we're going to take that scalloped rectangle and we're going to stamp the big thanks on there. And I love this outline one because we're going to be able to do a little coloring, and we're going to do a full rainbow coloring just like we did earlier, adding a little bit of dark marker at the bottom and then shading with our lighter marker up to the top. And I love how this looks. It's so cool. We'll add some tape runner to this piece and we're going to tuck it into the grass just like we've been doing with all of the rhinos. I really love the grass kind of coming up into that big thanks sentiment. I think it's really, really cute. And now you can see how the whole sentiment goes big thanks, and it says you've always got my back. Now for our card base, we're going to be using some rainbow pattern paper because it goes along with those rainbow letters that we created earlier. And so we've cut a little custom sized card base here at 3.5 by 5.25 to be kind of a smaller card base to really frame this awesome interactive element. We're going to add some foam squares to the back of that scalloped rectangle and then attach that onto our rainbow paper. And I love the pop of color that it gives. To help coordinate with that paper, we're going to take the little pull tab die and we're going to die cut that from the rainbow paper too. And we're going to do it in kind of the blues and greens area because it goes along with the blue and green theme of this whole card. We can add some tape runner and add that right onto the tab. It's going to cover up that adhesive that we added on earlier, and it's a really nice little arrow that tells the recipient what to do. So now you have this cool mini card, and then when you pull on that tab, you get this really, really fun flip book action that goes through the whole story of our card. So we have our rhino, and now he's walking off and the birds are getting ready. He's waiting to meet his friend, and now they're together to say thank you. I absolutely had a blast making this card. It was so much fun and it's so cute, and I just absolutely love these little rhinos. Next up, we have some gorgeous cards by the design team. And first up, we have a beautiful card by Grace. I love how she heat embossed in white on that black cardstock and kind of stacked her sentiments around. It's the cutest thing, and I love those rhinos on the hills. Next, we have a gorgeous card by Audrey, and how amazing is that pink sky she created? I just love it. Here is the card by Elena that inspired us to make ours today. I am just so in love with those shadows and the sunset that she colored. This card by Elise is so super cute, and I love that she created another version. Those speech bubbles are just adorable. Here I love how Shari colored in these rhinos in completely non-traditional colors. They're so cute and happy. And Letitia was inspired to do the same. This is so much fun and I can't wait to try it. Here, this scene by Nicole is just beautiful. How amazing is that no-line coloring and that really, really cool sky she created? And here, Megan used the reveal wheel to create a really cool interactive element. And when you spin the wheel, that cute little bird flies back and forth. And then here we have an amazing card by Tammy. I love that oval and amazing sunset that she created. So we can't wait to hear what you guys think about this set, and we can't wait to see what you create with it. And I just wanted to thank Hero Arts one more time. We absolutely love you guys. Thank you for all you do. I hope you guys have an absolutely amazing day. Bye.